Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, honoring Arbor Day on April 26th, with an ongoing commitment to sustainable stewardship and conservation of Missouri's forests. ChooseWood.com.
From St. Louis Public Radio. This is St. Louis on the Air.
A lot of folks assume that the agents who would want to sign on to this are newer agents in the business who are trying to build their book.
That's exactly what I would assume.
The reality is the exact opposite.
I cringe because that means they have no respect for the expertise that I've gained over 35 years.
Hey, you're destroying the industry, and well, how are you expecting me to offer these rates? So we're really used to having those conversations.
I'm Sarah Fetsky. Clever Real Estate launched in St. Louis 4 years ago with a big goal: changing how you find a real estate agent and how much you pay them. That's a tall order for a web-based platform. But since then, the St. Louis-based startup has made major headway. The company is on pace to enable 6,000 home sales this year alone. It says it saved home sellers $80 million. And thanks to a new funding round, it plans to more than double its staff in 2022. And joining us now for more on Clever Real Estate is its co-founder, Luke Babich. Luke, welcome.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
So, Luke, give me the elevator pitch. How does Clever Real Estate work?
So, Clever has a simple vision, which is that we want to enable everyone to go through their real estate journey with a trusted expert in their corner. And there's two ways we do that. One is we've got a set of educational platforms where folks can find information about how to navigate the home selling and home buying process. Those get over 11 million readers a year. And then some percentage of those people look for our help in actually finding a local service provider, an agent, to help facilitate that transaction, to help them buy and sell on the ground in that tactical way. And for those people, we help match them up with hand-picked agents in their area. And the magic that's happening along the way in that process, which you alluded to, is we're pre-negotiating lower rates on behalf of the customer. Those insider deals that you could only get if you knew someone on the inside of the industry, we offer that to everybody. So for home sellers, it's just a 1% listing commission. For home buyers, we offer 0.5% in cash back. But you're not compromising on the level of service or the quality of agent you're getting. You're still getting your choice from top agents competing for your business. It's just at a much, much lower rate.
That is a much lower rate. I mean, the way this typically works for people who haven't done this, it's 6% that goes into a home sale, and that gets split. 3% for the seller's agent, 3% for the buyer's agent. How are you not compromising to get people to work as cheaply as what you just described?
The secret is that there's a lot of agents out there running really efficient businesses, and their biggest cost is finding a customer who's a good fit for them. And so Clever becomes a partner in growing their business, and we're connecting them with home sellers who are as good a fit for the agent, right? The agent cares about finding that fit every bit as much as the customer does. And so while a lot of these agents are used to spending a bunch of time mailing out postcards or spending money for advertising on websites like Zillow, we're making these really personal, hand-picked matches that lead to business for the agent at a much higher rate. So
how are you making
time.
A hand-picked match?
The secret there is a whole lot of technology, but also our philosophy as a business, which has been that we want to give technology into the hands of human beings to help them still make very personal decisions on behalf of every customer. That was very different than a lot of the competitors in this space, and it's something that was really only possible because we're a St. Louis business. We were able to grow a sales team of licensed concierges. These are folks with real estate licenses. They work in our office in the Delmar Loop primarily. We also have some remotely. And they use our technology to find the right agent matches for each customer. So there's a lot of data, there's a lot of algorithms helping them do this quickly and efficiently, but we kept the human being in the middle of the process every step of the way, which is something other businesses, the kind of Silicon Valley competitors in this space who mostly have failed and struggled over the last several years, didn't do.
So how do you do that when you're doing the kind of volume that you're doing? Like this person who's my concierge, they're actually assessing my personality and trying to figure out the right real estate agent, or they're looking for certain things I say are important to me? How does that go?
You got it. Most Clever customers talk to one of these concierges over the phone, and we learn about your needs, your goals, your pain points. Some of that can be kind of simple stuff. It's easy for a computer to understand, like, hey, you're trying to buy with a VA loan. If you're a veteran, you might want to take advantage of that kind of program. But some of it is more nuanced. You might be someone who wants an agent who's going to be more available as opposed to that top producer who's just cranking out volume but won't be able to give you quite as much hand-holding and education through the process. Those are the kind of differences that behind the scenes our platform is helping us accommodate for each person. So again, there's a lot of technology, but it's not technology that you're seeing. It's not a web platform, and we learned a lot of folks in real estate don't want a web platform. It feels really good to talk to a person who can look you in the eyes and care about you and talk you through the process, and then they're worrying behind the scenes about how to use this technology to give you a good experience.
So you're finding the one realtor that's right for me, or are you giving me a couple options?
Usually a couple options, and the premise of the company is that we want to give folks choice and value. So the value comes from negotiating these rates that, again, normally you would need someone on the inside to get a deal like this. Even then, the 1% commission fees that our agents are offering are lower than what most discount brands offer. And then choice is the other piece. We're going to set you up with some realtors to interview who we think are a good match for you, but it's a really personal decision. And real estate transactions are still really personal. So we tried not to take that aspect out, but just to make it more efficient for the agents and customers involved. Make it easier to find someone who's a good fit.
So I'm still kind of stuck on these rates as somebody who has gone through this, because what happens is you've got the seller paying this 6% fee, and then there's 3% that goes to the buyer's agent. So if I'm only paying my agent 1%, how do they then pay that other person? Isn't the other side of this going to be very angry that I've hired someone from Clever?
It's a really good question. So the thing that we explain when you sign up is we can negotiate down the rate that you're paying to your agent, and then you should still expect to pay a fee to the buyer's agent. So it comes out to about 3.5% total for most Clever customers who sell a home with us.
So the buyer's agent is not getting screwed in all this. I need to come in expecting to also pay them on top of the very low rate you've negotiated for my seller's agent.
You got it. So typically it's not a 6% commission total. It's 3 to 4%.
Okay.
And the buyer's agent commission can vary by market. But that's another piece where that concierge comes into play. We can help folks understand what they might expect in their area and prep them for that conversation coming in to meet their real estate agent, to be informed, be their own advocate, to understand the difference between those two sides of the commission, exactly like you're talking about.
So part of what makes disruption so interesting, and this is disruption, what you're doing here, is that there are people who are used to the way that things are being done. There are a lot of experienced real estate professionals in this town, and they're used to that 3%. So we wanted to get their take on Clever. Our producer, Kayla Drake, spoke earlier this week with John Hager. He's a real estate agent for Coldwell Banker. He's based in the outskirts of Wildwood. He's been in the industry for 35 years. He says he's skeptical about Clever's concept, and especially the rates that you're asking agents to take.
As a seller, if I was selling my home and hiring this company, my questions would be, what tools are they offering and what should I expect as far as service when the home is being inspected and negotiating and things of that nature. I just don't know of any real estate agent that I know of, that any experienced real estate agent who would agree to take a $300,000 listing for 3%.
And so that is John Hager. What would you say to what he said right there?
I'd say, John, I'd love for you to chat with my agent team. I think we might be able to get you in the network.
You're going to enlist him to sign up on Clever?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who's very busy. I think he doesn't need this. But for maybe a different sort of agent, you think you could talk him into it?
That's the funny thing, is most of the agents on our platform do upwards of 20 transactions a year. The typical agent is closer to 40 or 50. They have a small team working with them. They're in the top 1% in their market. They have over 10 years experience. A lot of folks assume that the agents who would want to sign on to this are newer agents in the business who are trying to build their book.
That's exactly what I would assume.
The reality is the exact opposite, which is great for consumers, but also great for these agents. The ones who buy into the platform are the ones who are getting the word out there. They're growing a real business and a brand for themselves in their local market. They see that discount commissions are coming for the industry. Real estate transactions have gotten a lot more efficient. It's a matter of time before there's price pressure and they have to start bringing these rates down. What Clever gives them is a way to tap into discount, to grow their business with a dependable supply of customers, a series of introductions every month that they can count on, that's going to get more signs out in yards with their name on it. And no one is going to know that they're offering these discount rates. We become their best kept secret. So they could sell another 10 to 20 homes every single year, and all of the neighbors who see that home get sold don't realize they've given that person a 1% commission. So for them, it's a way to grow their brand, get more exposure, get more buyers calling that sign as well, tapping into discount without having to brand themselves as a discount agent.
We're talking today to Luke Babich. He's the co-founder of Clever Real Estate. They're making big strides and really shaking up how people find real estate agents, also what they pay them. We need to take a quick break. We'll be back shortly to continue this conversation with Luke. This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, honoring Arbor Day on April 26th, with an ongoing commitment to sustainable stewardship and conservation of Missouri's forests. ChooseWood.com.
Welcome back. We're talking today to Luke Babich. He's the co-founder of Clever Real Estate. They're based right here in St. Louis. They've recently raised another $8 million. Their valuation is now at $13 million. Big growth there, shaking up the real estate market. Now, we heard just before the break from an experienced realtor who's based on the outskirts of Wildwood. That's John Hager. He also shared that he thinks people have some real misconceptions about his industry. He says they don't understand just how much work goes into selling a home.
I cringe when I have a seller client, when they say, we decided to give you the listing. A lot of times when they have that mindset, and that's what I think Clever feels, is that all of this money is like giving just to get in the MLS. I cringe because that means they have no respect for the expertise that I've gained over 35 years.
And that, again, is John Hager, a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker. Luke, I imagine there has been some pushback from some realtors. As you were saying, you've had a lot of luck signing up some really experienced people who love this platform. When you're out and about at cocktail parties, do you hear people going, what are you doing to my industry?
I don't have to wait to be out and about at cocktail parties because we have a full-time team of 10 people, which will be doubling over the next year, that goes out and recruits real estate agents all day long. And they talk to folks like John who tell us exactly that. Yeah. Hey, you're destroying the industry. And, well, how are you expecting me to offer these rates? So we're really used to having those conversations. But I did want to put in context when I said our agents are very experienced, just how many agents nationwide are buying into this. So Clever has now completed transactions in all 50 states. We're completely nationwide. We have over 12,000 agents signed up in the network. And over 10% of them come from Keller Williams. Another 6% come from Coldwell Banker.
So these are the big name firms.
Yes. And really, we focus on bringing that expertise, finding the agents who are going to do a really good job taking care of the customer. Our belief is you can't take the agent out of the transaction. Even as things are getting more streamlined, more automated, more cost efficient, we believe the real estate agent, folks like John, play a really important role in the transaction. And sometimes a real estate sale goes perfectly, and your agent might not do a whole lot of work. That's great. But a lot of times things do go off the rails. A lot of times there's complexity, there's risk. You could end up in a tough situation with a buyer. That's when you really want your agent there to hold things down for you. And so what we focus on is finding people like John And often they're in a position where they want to bring on someone to help them manage their business. Maybe they're bringing on a full-time buyer's agent to handle showings. They're trying to bring on a transaction coordinator to take on some of the paperwork so they can be out there really focusing on finding new clients and selling houses. And for people who are growth-oriented agents like that, the biggest thing they depend on is a consistent source of customers. It's really tough to be spending all this money up front to try and get their name out there, not knowing if and when all that marketing will pay off, because they only get paid when they actually sell homes. And with Clever, there's no upfront charge to the agent. We align our interests, where we only get paid when a customer and an agent complete a home sale and have a great experience. And so for these agents, this is a way for them to basically get a good return on time, because they're spending a lot less time chasing down customers. They can do what they're great at, which is helping people buy and sell houses.
So I can see how you're signing up so many agents. You're very persuasive. You guys are having some big growth here. So $8 million in this latest round of funding. What are you going to do with all that money?
So a lot of it is going towards continuing to expand our team, continuing to build out the technology that makes our team more efficient.
And when you say expand your team, you're going to be up to like 200 employees?
200 people by the end of the year, as long as we can find the right people.
And you mean
fast.
the end of next year?
Yes.
Okay.
Not within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Unless you know 125 people who'd be a great fit for this cause. No, so the team is 75 folks today. We're going to be growing up to 200 by the end of 2022. And the other main use of funds is Clever's made some big strides getting involved in the mortgage side of the transaction, helping home buyers in a similar way to how we've helped home sellers. And we're looking to continue to grow out that piece of Clever's business. So the new capital is enabling us to invest in the technology and the partnerships we'll need to build out that home buyer experience.
So you're doing all of this from an office in the Del Mar Loop. How many of those 200 employees that you hope to get to by the end of next year are going to be St. Louis based?
Really good question. So a lot of the team is remote, especially a lot of our writers and our software engineers. And then there's a core contingent that is in the Del Mar Loop office with me. So I would guess that by the end of the year, anywhere from a fourth to a half of our staff will be here in St. Louis, and then others will be all over the map. We've got folks in 14 different states and 3 Canadian provinces on the team today.
So you went to Stanford. You're obviously familiar with what's going on in Silicon Valley. What makes St. Louis a good place to headquarter this company versus trying to be out in California, where supposedly all the best and the brightest are huddled together?
Well, much more importantly, I went to U City High. And always had a sense that I wanted to come back to St. Louis. And there were personal reasons for that. There's also a lot of reasons I think St. Louis is a terrific place to get started as someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to build something. My co-founder and I only had the chance to build Clever because we got started in real estate investing first. And I lost a race for city council here in St. Louis.
You ran for the University City Council when you were 22?
That's right. Straight back from college. And along the way, got really interested in the power of publishing to build an audience. That's a core piece of Clever's business still, but also in real estate. And I got to see the way that real estate shaped things at a very local level. So my personal journey into Clever was becoming interested in real estate through that campaign. And also, one of the main objections you get as a 22-year-old running for public office is, how are you going to make decisions about my property taxes when you don't pay any? So I might have had a chip on my shoulder too, saying, well, I'll be back. I'll be paying plenty of property taxes next time I'm on your ballot. And so my co-founder and I got started investing in real estate, buying homes and fixing them up. And we were paying less for an FHA loan, a 3.5% down payment loan to buy a property in St. Louis, buy a rental property, than my friends on the West Coast were paying to rent a studio apartment in San Francisco. And there's certain realities about living in the Midwest that make it a lot easier to take a few risks and to get started building something.
Is it harder, though, to find good people? I sometimes hear that here. I also hear that for startups, it can be harder to find investors. For
Clever, that certainly has not been our experience. My co-founder also went to U City High, so in terms of finding good people, we found each other, and we were here in St. Louis, both drawn to the fact that it's very easy to start something in the Midwest, and a lot of our core team is here as well. And again, with hiring remotely for the kind of roles where it has been difficult to find folks locally or where we've needed to move really fast, well, we've been able to hire people all over the country to join the team. So it hasn't held us back in any way to be in the Midwest in terms of building a team. And I think it's helped us find a lot of people who buy into Clever's values and our culture as well. And in terms of investors, we've been really lucky on that front too. Cultivation Capital is based here, and they've not only been investing in Clever since our very early rounds through leading this current round, our Series B, they've also been amazing mentors to us and incredibly supportive on a personal level. And we turned down in this most recent round investors who are offering us a more competitive valuation for the company because we wanted to go with cultivation. And we knew that they would support us. We knew that they were really aligned with some of the strategic and cultural ways we wanted to grow the business. So St. Louis has been a great place to find allies, both in terms of people who want to build a great team and a great business and people who want to give us the capital to go do it.
And so do you feel going forward, do you feel committed, like you can do everything you want to do with Clever remaining based here?
Absolutely.
Not just a good place to start, it's a good place to
grow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's nothing keeping us from growing a terrific business here on the path to an IPO and on the path to build something really meaningful in the real estate industry. I believe because of what the team in St. Louis and around the country is building, 3 to 5 years from now, the experience of going through a home selling and home buying journey, whether you're relying on our content or you're paying a 1% fee to a great real estate agent instead of 3% in listing commission, the experience of going through that home selling or home buying journey will be different for millions of people because of what all of our writers and our concierges are doing every day. And there's absolutely nothing holding us back from building that experience headquartered in St. Louis.
You mentioned an IPO, the initial public offering, going public. Is that the ultimate goal? Not the ultimate goal. Is that the next big goal? And if so, how soon do you want to do that?
There's financial goals, and then there's the real business goal. The real business goal is what I said before, that we want to give everyone the experience of navigating their real estate journey with a trusted expert in their corner. That's the North Star. That's what we're trying to build. And when we pick a next milestone to keep ourselves accountable for growing a great business to achieve that goal, yes, it's an IPO. I think we can get there in 3 years. And that said, the team really focuses day to day on that bigger goal, the long-term thing.
Well, Luke Babich, it's been exciting to hear about all these plans, and we're going to keep an eye on this. I hope that when you get to that IPO, you can come back and tell us how you got there.
Appreciate it. Sarah, it's been awesome talking to you.
This episode was produced by Sarah Fensky, with audio engineering by our executive producer, Alex Hoyer. Production assistance by Aaron Dorr and Jane Mather-Glass. It was mixed and edited by Aaron.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here. If you learned something new from today's episode, consider leaving us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the easiest way to help people discover our show. We appreciate it. Thank you. St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri, St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, honoring Arbor Day on April 26th, with an ongoing commitment to sustainable stewardship and conservation of Missouri's forests. ChooseWood.com